Today is January 30th, 2015.
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday night. Jared and myself, who's videotaping me now, which is Jared. Me and Jared went over there to Norma's house to visit with Madison for a little while. We got there at 7:18. That's what's in the journal at her house. She hadn't written down that I had brought diapers or formula or wipes, which was mentioned several times, which I should have on audio from this video camera. And let me see here. I went ahead and wrote down that I brought a can of formula, a package of diapers, 44 count, and 2 packs of wipes, baby wipes. The visit, when we got there, we gave them the diapers and the formula and the wipes, and I went and washed my hands like I usually do. I came back in. I got Madison I took Madison from her room in the back of Norma's house. Norma was in there. Side note, Maria's hoodie was laying down on top of the rocking chair in the baby's room, which is the only chair that's in there. There's nowhere else to sit. It's pretty cluttered. That's the only place you can sit other than standing room in front of the changing table. Her hoodie was laying on the rocking chair, which means that Maria has just been sitting in there by herself with Madison, unless Norma's sitting on the floor, which I highly doubt. At this point, it's an assumption, but the fact is, one chair, her hoodie's laying there. That's Madison's changing room. Maria's probably sat in there and changed her and sat down in the rocking chair and did whatever that Maria does. And the reason I make this assumption that she was in there alone is the only other room in there is the standing room in front of the changing table. Like I said, there's only one chair. And the other day, which is also listed in my notes, whenever I arrived at Norma's, one of my last visitations, I have it written down in my journal. I walked in, Madison wasn't in sight. She wasn't in the living room with Norma. Dave was, I think Dave was sitting there, but it should be in my notes. Or it might have just been me, Norma, Maria, and Madison. Anyway, I walk in for the visitation, and I don't see the baby. Maria's car's outside, but I don't see her either. I assume that Madison's laying in her bassinet in the living room, so I check, and she's not. So I put the formula and the stuff that I brought down, and I asked Norma where Madison is. I had thought maybe she's in her bedroom asleep in a crib, which now that I think of it, I don't think there is a crib in there. A minute or so goes by, a couple minutes, and Maria comes walking down the hall with Madison. She had been in there alone, which is clearly against the rules. I'm not thumping anybody over the head, but there are do's and don'ts, and I'm just stating that, pointing that out for future reference. I haven't mentioned that to anyone. It's only in my journal. No one really has seen that. Anyway, back to today's visit. I put the diapers and the formula and the wipes down, and I got Madison from the bedroom where Norma was at, and I walked into the living room. I had Norma fix me a bottle for Madison because she had just woke up, and I fed Madison about 1.5 ounces, give or take, maybe 2, and she was good. She wasn't crying. I'm sure that had she been, it would have been in the notes. She'd even cried for a split second. It'd been in the notes that she was crying the whole time. Kind of like what was stated in the journal the last time I was there with my sister, Sarah, and myself at Norma's for visitation. In that journal that day, I stated that wasn't true, which we have video evidence, the camera, from that day when she said that Madison was crying for an hour and a half, which wasn't true. Stated that she'd been crying for an hour and a half. Had that actually been the case, then that means Madison was crying from the time that we walked in the door to the time that we left. And that's not true. Not even remotely close to being that long. She had an upset stomach. Plenty of video on that, but back to today once again. I fed Madison. She was awake for a little while, and you know, I patted her on her chest for a little while, and she ended up going to sleep. She slept for a little bit. She got a good little nap in, and you know, shortly after, before it was time to go, I let Jared hold Madison, and I went and double checked on the diapers and the formula, double checked the journal. It wasn't in there, that stuff that I had brought. So I wrote it down. Everything I said about today's visit, I put in the journal. I didn't put anything in there about any of the other visits, or what I had seen as far as the hoodie in the bedroom goes. Maybe I should have. I don't really see a point in that. It would just have been disputed, I believe. On the other hand, maybe that's just me being nice. I try to be, but I'm sure that if it was the other way around, that there would have been an article about it in the journal. So anyway, I'm documenting it now. I'm gonna document it when I get home in the journal. And this is where we're at right now. It's now 9:12. Our departure time was 8:52. I had forgot to write the departure time down in the journal. So as soon as I got in the truck, me and Jared, and turned the camera on, I sat in the road and I texted Norma. Hadn't gone anywhere. Told her, I said, I have a low battery. Jared and I just got in the truck, and I realized that I forgot to put a departure time in the journal we signed. If you can, do that. Exclamation mark. She replied at 8:59, no problem. Whether you can see that or not, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't matter. It's here. It will be documented on my paper journal as well. And we're pulling in by the Waffle House. It's now 9:13. I'm gonna have Jared turn the camera off.